NJ.com gives us this first story this morning. New body-worn camera footage from the January 6th attack on the U.S. Capitol shows a New Jersey gym owner screaming at officers outside the government building before shoving one and then subsequently punching the cop. In a video released by the Department of Justice on Friday, Scott Fairlamb of Stockholm in Hardyston Township, Sussex County, can be seen on video assaulting a federal law enforcement officer.
Are you with American? Act like fucking like you don't have no idea what the fuck you're doing. You guys have no idea what the fuck you're doing. Now once again, you're American. Now what idea?
Authorities had previously attached photos and charging documents of Fairlamb attacking the officer on the west front of the Capitol, but the recently released video is the most extensive version showing an enraged Fairlamb punching the officer in the face.
Don't touch me, bro. Get the fuck out of here. Don't touch me, motherfucker. No, they work for us. Fuck that.
As he moves down the line of officers, Fairlamb, a former mixed martial arts fighter, can be seen shoving one of the officers. The officer puts his hand out in front of Fairlamb, who then punches the officer in the face. The officer did not seek medical attention. News media outlets sued the Department of Justice to get the footage released, according to CNN. The Department of Justice released 4 video clips Friday that it has used to charge Fairlamb, including footage from a police body-worn camera, bystander video, and the 2 clips that Fairlamb uploaded to Facebook and Instagram while on the Capitol grounds. Fairlamb has been indicted on charges of assaulting a federal officer and acts of physical violence on Capitol grounds. Fairlamb's attorney, Harley Bright, was quoted as saying, "A rush judgment based solely on viewing one moment captured in time can often lead to false conclusions. It doesn't tell you the whole story or what precipitated that alleged incident." Fairlamb, whose brother was previously a Secret Service officer assigned to protect Michelle Obama, also faces additional charges for his role in the attack on the Capitol in January. After being initially arrested in January, Fairlamb was indicted on 12 charges in March, including entering or remaining in any restricted building or grounds with a deadly weapon, obstruction of an official proceeding, and aiding and abetting and disorderly conduct in Capitol building, among other charges. The Pompton Lakes gym owner has pleaded not guilty to all charges. He has remained detained pending the outcome of his criminal case after a judge found him to be a danger to the community if released. In addition to allegedly assaulting an officer, authorities said they have evidence showing Fairlamb was one of the first ones to breach the Capitol, and that he can be seen carrying a baton around Capitol grounds and standing on scaffolding outside the building. There's a little bit more in there that I didn't read, is like quotes from him and so forth. The link to it is in the description box below. But his attorney is what cracks me up. A rush judgment based solely on one moment captured in time can lead to false conclusions. And then she says, it doesn't tell you the whole story. We saw what happened. The cop was walking by. The guy shoves the cop. The cop puts his arm up, and the guy punches him in the head. I know some people may disagree with me, but we saw what happened. The guy assaulted the police officer. He wasn't doing anything but walking by. There's a crowd of people. Of course you're going to touch somebody. Of course you might push a little and go, oh, excuse me. But this guy, he's a mixed martial arts fighter. He's a big boy. Because he's a bully too. I'm sorry, but he's a bully too. He's one of those mixed martial arts guys, so he can beat people up. Doesn't make it right. Whether it's Capitol Police or any police officer, it doesn't make it right. So again, remember, accountability is a two-way street. But I love his, these attorneys always try to, attorneys cop-splain too. Did you know that? Did you know that? But these people are being charged with a whole truckload, entering the restricted area of the Capitol building and so forth. I don't know. There's been back and forth on this. Some people say they were allowed to be there. Some people say no, it was an insurrection. Some people say no, it wasn't. It was a revolution. I don't know. I'll see what you guys think in the comment section below. But here's another one that's getting charged with a truckload from that January 6th incident. There's my AC because it's getting kind of hot here this morning. I'm going to move on to the next story. You guys are going to love this one. abcnews.go.com brings us our next story. Members of a specialized Portland, Oregon police unit that deals with crowd control have resigned from the assignment en masse a day after a fellow officer was indicted on assault charges stemming from alleged illegal use of force during a protest last year.
This is the Portland Police Bureau.
Calling it quits, approximately 50 Portland police officers, detectives, and sergeants stepped down from their roles on the Bureau's rapid response team. Those are the men and women in blue who handle crowd control, like those nightly demonstrations we saw throughout much of last summer.
Have I ever seen anything like this in my career? No. I don't think any of us have.
Deputy Chief Chris Davis is acting as chief this week with Chuck Lavelle out of town. Davis says Portlanders do not need to worry about safety in the Rose City. Among the people we're hearing from tonight is Portland Mayor Ted Wheeler. He says despite these more than 4 resignations, Portland is still a very safe place. In fact, he spoke to the governor, and we understand that the Oregon State Police will be assisting with any unruly mass gatherings, should there be any. In the meantime, while acknowledging the mental toll that the last year has taken on rapid response team members and their families, the mayor says that reforming our community safety system remains a top priority.
The Portland Police Bureau's Rapid Response Team, which is primarily responsible for providing public safety at crowd events, consisted of approximately 50 officers, all of whom resigned Wednesday, the Bureau announced. The assignment is voluntary and the officers will remain on the force and continue their regular assignments, the Bureau said.
As your police bureau, we are committed to providing the community the best service that we can. And this does not mean that there will be no response in public order situations. We'll use the resources that we have.
Those resources, Davis says, may very well include the team of officers, detectives, and sergeants who stepped away from their voluntary assignments on the rapid response team, but not the force altogether.
And we can give orders to our officers, and they have made it very clear to us that they will follow any lawful order that they are given.
The mass resignation comes a day after a grand jury indicted Portland Police Bureau officer Corey Budworth on one count of fourth-degree assault, a misdemeanor, for what prosecutors allege was an excessive and unlawful use of force during a protest in August 2020.
Wednesday's vote comes just one day after rapid response team member Corey Budworth was indicted for assault against a protester. This is video of the incident in August of last year.
Nobody's above the law. It applies to everybody, and that's what this process is for.
That was Multnomah County DA Mike Schmidt speaking Tuesday after the indictment was handed down.
Budworth, who at the time was on the Bureau's rapid response team, is accused of striking a woman in the head with a baton during an August 8, 2020 demonstration outside the Multnomah building. The officers, detectives, and sergeants on the rapid response team voted to offer their resignation from the assignment at a meeting Wednesday night, Acting Chief Chris Davis said during a press briefing.
Schmidt's words hint at some possible friction between his office and the police bureau, to which Chris Davis said this.
There are always going to be friction points in those relationships. That's just normal. But one good thing that we do have in Portland and in Multnomah County is we have good relationships with those partners. And when things like this happen, we are able to sit down with one another and work through this kind of problem.
Schmidt declined to speak on camera about the mass resignations Thursday, but said in a statement, management and staffing of the rapid response team falls within the purview of the leadership of the Portland Police Bureau. I have confidence that the Bureau will continue their mission to maintain public safety. He added, we cannot expect the community to trust law enforcement if we hold ourselves to a lower standard.
Two law enforcement sources close to the team told ABC News that the officers decided the assault charge reflected too much hostility towards their police work, and they did not see a way forward in being members of the team facing sometimes violent protests in downtown Portland.
Also weighing in tonight is City Commissioner Joanne Hardesty. She's calling on City Council to formally disband the rapid response team. She says these resignations are yet another example of a rogue paramilitary organization not accountable to city leaders or Portland residents. And someone saying something very similar is the attorney representing the young woman who was allegedly assaulted by Officer Budworth.
Now there's more to it, and it goes down if you guys want to go and read it in the link below. The reason I wanted to stop there was just I couldn't read anymore, because he says that it reflects too much hostility towards police work. We do not see a way forward when members of our team are facing sometimes violent protests. Well, Officer Budworth didn't hit a violent protester. He hit a journalist who was simply photogging what was going on. And the thing is, he hit her in the back of the head and she fell down. Things happen. If he would have stopped and said, whoa, and helped her up and said, just go out of the area, maybe it would have been okay. But when she falls down, she comes back up and he just pops her in the head with his baton. So again, cop-splaining, a narrative turned by this rapid response team. Thank God you guys quit the rapid response team. Now we got to get the 50 of you to quit the police department and we'll be good. I think I commented to somebody, we win in this one. No, we didn't win. I just found out. I thought when they said resigned, when I first heard this story, I thought that meant they left the police department. No, they're still cops. They're just not on the rapid response team, which for Portland means when there's a huge protest, they don't have like a special unit that's going to respond real quick. Now they have to gather a bunch of regular cops. So what was the rapid response team? Is the rapid response team like those that do the goose step? Down. I don't know, man. I don't know. Aren't all officers trained to rapidly respond? And a lot of people were pointing out too, and I put a link to my editorial down below. A lot of people were pointing out in that editorial that they said that he did what he was trained to do. What, he was trained to pop people in the head with a baton? A lot of people were pointing that out. I didn't catch that, but yeah. That's what they're trained to do. But, you know, not all officers are bad. I know people are going to disagree with me. I get it. But, you know, I think we have to get back to that, building that bridge of communication. Although I'm a little bit iffy when it comes to cops. I'm still on edge. The hairs on the back of my neck still stand up when I have to face the law enforcement officers out there. I think they're sketchy of me. I really do. But, again, I'm not here to bash cops. I'm not here to be anti-police. I'm here to be anti-police brutality, anti-police bullying because I have a badge, anti-police civil rights violations. That's what I'm here for, not just to bash cops. Look, there's some cops out there that are in their heart is in the right place. They're trying to do the right thing. But, you know, that's how it goes sometimes. So I want to hear what you guys got to say in the comment section down below. Community Leo Watch. Watching Leos, that's law enforcement officers who get punched in the head by mixed martial arts gym owners and resign because their buddy got indicted. Yes, that happened from coast to coast. Portland to New Jersey. I don't know, I was going to say an LL Cool J line from a song. What am I talking about? I'm getting coffee. You guys continue to watch my editorials.